Welcome to my channel. I'm Roland Adegoke. This is the oasis of life, the citadel of excellence, and the castle of wisdom. I thank you for coming to this channel, for your interaction, for your questions, for your observation. And for those of you that have subscribed, I'm indeed grateful. And I still want to appeal to everyone for the benefit we've been deriving from this channel to subscribe so that we can have a good time together. Thank you indeed. Now, I want to ask a question. It has been on my mind for some times. Why are we afraid to answer the questions of the new generation? Sometimes the way some of us were brought up were just to accept anything and everything brought to us without asking any question. But the generation we are, the younger individuals that we have around us, whether our members as religious leaders, our followers as political leaders, junior staff members that are actually young in age in our various walks of life or industry, or even our children at home, they are asking some questions that we find very much uncomfortable to answer. To the older generation, it is believed that the younger generation have no respect, that these people, they just ask questions without respecting my age, my exposure, my experience, and all that. Sometimes we feel they undermine the authority of leadership. We feel as parents we should have the final say at home. But I want to help you to understand that the generation we are is a generation that emphasizes more of rationality, more of thinking, critical thinking, situational thinking. They are curious, they are adventurous, they want to know, they want to be convinced, they want explanation, and we don't want to provide the explanation. We just want them to believe and accept whatsoever we put across to them. There is a great revolution coming ahead. This revolution is not going to be with sword, with cutlass, with gun, with weapons, lethal weapons. It is an intellectual revolution. What we call rebellion is going to come up. But rebellion in terms of having divergent views, having what we think we believe questioned. There are so many things we believe we accept as standard of morality or values or religious thoughts, doctrines, tenets, or pillars of faith that have been questioned over the time, but they are going to be questioned much more. They are going to be challenged much more. If you are to remain relevant, you have to go back and do your homework. They are going to question the tenets of your faith. What do you believe? Do not just tell them what you believe. They will ask you, why do you believe in what you believe in? I'm not too sure if this generation, the people, the younger generation, actually don't want to obey instruction. The difference is just that they want to have the reasons explained. And once they have strong conviction built on the reasons and explanation, they are good to go. So I want to appeal to you as leaders at the home front, at the religious level, political level, at every facet of human endeavor. The younger generation is asking for explanation. Do not take it to be a challenge on your authority or leadership. Don't see it as an affront. Don't let our culture, quote and unquote, come into play. It is a world of intellectual discourse. It is a re-emergence of Renaissance era. Knowledge will greatly increase, and that is the knowledge of both the evil and the good. If you want to bottle them up or silence them, I'm sure you are planning and preparing for massive failure. You are preparing for rebellion in quotes. You are preparing for divergent views that will question your authority. They have respect for you, but they need explanation. There are so many that have been brought up just to believe, just to accept certain things without questioning it. But this generation is simply telling you we can't just accept without explanation. They want to be free. They want things to be reasoned out. They want you to open the closed book to them. They want conviction. They don't just want to follow without clarity of purpose. I want to appeal to individuals at higher level of authority. Your authority will only stand when you have rational power, when you have ability to explain and to convince them to follow you. To indoctrinate people, to get people to accept what you believe, what you think is right, is going to be questioned much more. It is not a time of anger. It is not a time to fight back. Their question is not an affront on your leadership. It is to help them to have basis for their belief. Do not forget that if you just bring them up to accept without asking question, to accept without explanation, one is either you yourself don't understand and you just believe. Accept it as it is, but no conviction. Or you even discover that some things are wrong, but because of weakness in character, because of what you think people will say, you can't own up and tell them, I now discover this thing is wrong. Other side of it, they are going to encounter younger generation or individuals in Europe, in America, on the YouTube, on various social media channels that are ready to expose, explain, expatiate many things, philosophies, doctrines, tenet of faith, pillars of faith, what we believe and teach, and all that. And once they are not convinced, immediately they get exposed to all these contrary, divergent views. They are gone. And that is the point you have children finding it difficult to obey their parents at home. It goes beyond beating, it goes beyond shouting and screaming on them. Teachers in schools, it's beyond what somebody wrote. Here is a philosopher from America, a theorist from UK. He has said this. They are now asking you, how are these theories applicable to Asia, to Africa, to developing countries? You can't explain, you can't convince them. The respect, the admiration for you and your teaching will nosedive. As a religious leaders, it goes beyond just reading and telling the people to obey is better than sacrifice. They want to know the reasons. They want explanation. They are not challenging you. They want to know. If you cannot convince them, if you cannot explain to them, I'm sorry, you are losing them. They are going to be fed with somebody that has better explanation than you. It doesn't mean what the other person will teach is right or wrong. But once such can explain to them, they follow them. So we may have to checkmate our method of teaching, our method of indoctrination or passing of the baton from one generation to another. I believe it's no longer enough. That is the way my father taught me, and that is the way he brought me up. Is no longer enough. Are you convinced? Will you be able to convince another generation? Do you have the knowledge, the understanding? Do you have the lifestyle to convince those that are asking you questions? They are not wrong to ask you questions, but if you cannot explain to them, then there is a problem. Intellectual rebellion is coming. Divergent views and perception, of course, will pervade the land. And I'm afraid we may lose our younger generation. We may lose our younger people. Remember, they are much more intellectual. Remember, they are much more exposed. Remember, they are much more civilized. They will not follow you if you cannot convince them. We may have to go back and work on our intellectual capacity. We have to work on our emotion and temperament. We may have to be more patient with them. We may have to do more explanation than giving instruction and declaring an authoritative order. He is no longer working. You are in a VUCA world, a world that is volatile, a world that is uncertain. It is a world that is so complex and ambiguous. If we are not ready to make amendments, adjustments, I'm sorry, we will not be able to help them. And once they deviate, once they change their pattern of life, whether in the home front, whether in the religious circle, at a political front, we may never be able to get them back again. It is an assignment, it is a task, it is a serious duty. Every leader and head of organizations and institutions, including the home fronts, to wake up to realities. Else, we will bite much more than we can chew. I don't know if by this I remain your partner in progress, but I think I still remain so. I am Roland Adegoke. Thank you.